Hello, this is Tina, and I've been asked by several of my friends if I could teach them how to make our simple dill pickles. These are really fun dill pickles. They're crisp, which I love, and they are really easy to make. So what I thought I would do is first of all give you the recipe. Um, this is the information that you will need, or the ingredients that you will need to gather before you start the pickles. One thing I want to make real clear is you have to use pickling cucumbers to make these pickles. They're not regular cucumbers that you can buy in the store, and so you're going to need to pick up pickling cucumbers. Usually you can pick these up at a farmer's market. I know that we have been very successful in planting pickling cucumbers, and they're kind of fun to put together and give away these dill pickles for gifts. Let me scroll down here a little bit so that you have all the preparation and the steps to make the pickling cucumbers, or the pickles themselves. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some step-by-step videos, and hopefully this will help make your experience a positive experience. One thing that I do want to note here is that in number 7 here on the process, I usually only boil my pickles once they're in the water bath for 5 minutes. The reason I do this is because I have just put boiling brine over the cucumbers, the pickling cucumbers, and tightened up the lids, and so it doesn't take very long for those pickles to process and be able to seal. Now I know that there are a lot of people that might be a little leery about that for the short time frame on it, so I've given 12 minutes in my video that I will show. But if you want really good crisp pickles, just keep them there for 5 minutes in the boiling water. You'll see that the water's already boiling when the bottles are submerged, so it shouldn't be a problem. I've always had all of my pickles sealed. I've never had any problems with them. We've been doing these pickles now for probably 4 or 5 years. So, I'll use it up to your judgment, but like I say, we only process ours for 5 minutes, but I have given instruction on the following videos for 12. Enjoy, have fun with your family, and I hope this becomes a fun tradition for you. Okay, so I'm going to give a quick tutorial on how to make pickles. And this is, first of all, you're going to pick fresh pickles. These are fresh pickles from the garden. They've been cleaned. And we're going to take those pickles and we're going to put them in an ice bath here in the sink. You're going to want to do this for about 4 hours, and what that's going to provide for you is for the pickles to actually be set, and it will make a crisper pickle, especially the method that we're doing. This is a very simple pickling recipe. The next thing you want to do is have your equipment. You'll notice that I've got 3 pans here. The one pan is a cold water bath canner, the dark blue one, and it has this rack that will actually hold the bottles, and I'll show you how to put these together. The smaller pan here, the smaller saucepan, I'm going to put some water about halfway up and bring it to a boil, and I'm going to put my lids. And the lids that we're going to be using are these lids that have rubber around the edge here. And the reason we put them in the hot water bath is to soften the rubber so that they seal. We're going to be using quart jars for our pickles. And one of the things that I do to get the things ready to make the pickles is to actually put the jars in the dishwasher, and I've just run these jars through so they're still hot and sterilized, and I'll be able to pull those out warm as I'm ready to put the pickles together. You'll notice that the pan that I will use here, this is a deep pan that we'll be making the brine in. The brine is made with vinegar and water and salt, and it's a special salt, but use a Teflon covered pan and also a wooden spoon. Vinegar has a tendency to react with aluminum, and so we don't want to do that. The other ingredients that we have here, I have fresh dill from the grocery store, I have garlic, and I have already peeled garlic cloves, and so this little jar, or this little bowl, has prepared cloves ready to go. You're going to want to use the Morton canning and pickling salt. It has no additive, so it doesn't clump together, but that's what you'll want to use. We use apple cider vinegar for our pickles. The other spices that you will have here is we will have black whole pepper peppercorns, and you can either use the all black or you can use a mixed. We will be using dill seed, and the dill seed you'll see is just actually the dill, the little seeds of dill. And then the other thing that we will be using is mustard seed, and that's what the mustard seed looks like. So that gives you the ingredients that we'll be using and putting together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put our pickles in the cold water bath for 4 hours, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how to do the pickles from that point. Okay, we've got our pickles in the ice water. I just wanted to show that we're getting things set up over here. You'll notice that I have the rings for the lids set aside. I'm planning on about 7 quarts of pickles. This funnel here will help me put the brine in on top of the pickles. I wanted to show on the cold water bath how you set this up. You'll notice that the rack is resting on the edge of the cold water bath, and the water that I have is just to barely cover the bottom part of the rack here. And I'll be putting this on to boil in just a moment. We also have our brine started here. This is the vinegar and the water and the salt, and it's coming to a boil. And again, you'll notice that I'm using a wooden spoon to pour that, take care of that. On the back, I have boiling water in my smaller pot, and I have the 7 flat lids that are being boiled for just a moment here, and I'll be taking those off in just a second, and moving the brine to the back and putting my processing, my water bath processing, to start boiling. Okay, let's come on over here and we will take a look at, here's our pickles. They're in the ice water bath, and we'll be having them here. They have been setting for a while now and nice and firm. And then what I will do is I will come over here and I'll process them by cutting them up and start filling the jars. So that's kind of the point where you are right now, and we'll come back in a minute to start processing the pickles. Okay, I wanted to show you how I dress the bottles. I've just taken these bottles out of the dishwasher. They're hot, and what you will find in each jar, as I hold this up, is I've got the different seasonings and the dill weed. What I have done is I've used my kitchen shears and I've cut stalks of the fresh dill into each bottle, and then I have put a garlic clove, and you'll see that there's 1 in each jar, except if they were small cloves, and I've put 2 in each in the jar, and then a 1/4 teaspoon each of the mustard seed, the whole black peppercorn, and then the dill seed, the hard dill seed. So I've just put a 1/4 teaspoon in each of the prepared jars here. So these are now ready for me to start cutting the pickles and putting the pickles in the jar. And we'll come right back with that one. Okay, I'm starting to prepare the pickles here to go in the jars. And what I wanted to show you is I tried to get pickles that are about the same length to cut. And you'll notice here that the pickles, you have the stem side. This is where it is broken off from the plant itself. On the opposite end, this little part here is called the flower side. What you're going to want to do is cut off both the stem side and the flower side of the pickle. And then I cut them up into wedges. I take those wedges and I drop them into the jar that has been prepared. So you'll see that these are all getting ready here. I've got several that have already been prepared with pickles that are about the same size, or cucumbers that are about the same size. I'm going to go ahead and finish filling these jars real fast, and then what we'll do is we'll put the brine in, and I'll show you how to process them from there. Again, try to get pickles that are about the same size. As you'll notice, there are some pickles here that are smaller pickles. And the smaller pickles here, I would go ahead and put those whole in the jar, except cutting the ends off for them. So you can actually have whole pickles, but they would be the smaller pickles that you would want to look at. Okay? Okay, so we have already filled 5 of the jars. I had enough for 7. You'll have your cut up pickles in your prepared jar. I use this funnel so that it's not dripping over and burning me. I'm taking the hot brine, and you will fill the jars up to the first rim of your jar. Right here. So you can see that it's got about a 1/2 inch headspace on it. Then you use this nice little tool here, and you can actually go in. This is the boiled lids that we prepared. You'll take a lid here, put on the jar, tighten your jar tight, and place it here. As I'm putting the jars in, you'll notice that the rack is still hooked on, and it's only the bottom of the jars that are in the boiling water right now. Once I finish this second one here, we'll put them all down in. Is it on video? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've got the 7 jars in, and I'm going to lift this now and drop it into the boiling water. And as you put in the boiling water, you'll see that it is completely submerged, and it's already boiling. You'll see the bubbles still coming up. I have this as boiling water, but we're going to put this back on, and then we're going to set our timer for 12 minutes. This is going to give it a rolling boil for about 5 minutes, and that's all we really need is a rolling boil for 5 minutes. So we'll come back in 12. So we've got timing, and we've got the bottles ready to go. Now this is a great little tool that you can pick up, and this is to pick up the jars. What I usually do is, instead of try to lift the whole thing up again, I take jars out individually, tilt off the water, then we're going to just come and set the jars right here on a cloth, and we're going to load them. You'll notice that this one I put a lot of whole pickles in. Okay, so we'll be back in a minute after I get these all out and after they're sealed. Okay, we have the final product here. They're cooled down. If you can see on top of the jars here, you'll see where it's kind of indented, and you can almost see a ring. That's what I like about the ball caps. You can see that that's indented. So these have all sealed. If you can see that little indented ring on these. So we've got sealed jars. Can see that, and the pickles are ready to store. Ideally, what you'll want to do is let these sit for at least a couple of weeks and let them get the flavor, and then chill them and enjoy. Happy pickling.